So with all this, I'm shocked and surprised, but at the same time, I'm not surprised, right? It's like the contents of the lawsuit itself was just extremely shocking, but the fact that it's happening, the fact that it's P. Diddy, the fact, especially given, multiple rumors and unconfirmed reports and all that shit that we know about this man, like, at the same time, I'm not surprised. Like, it's just terrible what Cassie reported experiencing. I'm just going to start it out with this tweet. Diddy, Dr. Dre, Russell Simmons, L.A. Reid, R. Kelly, Nas, Trey Songz, T.I., Nelly, Joe Budden, Kodak Black, Chris Brown, Fab, Blueface, Ike Turner, Bobby Brown, Marvin Gaye, James Brown, Tupac, she went back in time. Music industry is and has always been full of celebrated abusers, and that's it. That's it. Okay, so for this, I'm going to switch between the New York Times article and the actual court documents, because I just sat and read. Once I started reading the court documents, it was like 35 pages. Once I sat and started reading that shit, I just could not stop. I was like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. All right, so in the lawsuit filed, Cassie says that not long after she met, of course, Diddy in 2005 when she was 19, he began a pattern of control and abuse that including plying her with drugs, beating her, and forcing her to have sex with a succession of male prostitutes while he filmed the encounters. In 2018, the lawsuit said near the end of their relationship, P. Diddy forced his way into her home and forced himself on her. Now, just be warned that this, everything that she's detailing here in this case is just really, some of this shit can be extremely hard to hear. So that's just a warning. Let's get into it. After years in silence and darkness, Miss Ventura said in a statement, "I am finally ready to tell my story and speak up on behalf of myself and for the benefit of other women who face violence and abuse in their relationships." In response, a lawyer for Diddy, Ben Brafman, said what you would expect them to say, that, oh, Cassie's lying and that she's looking for a payday, even though Cassie's lawyer said that, both parties spoke before the lawsuit was filed, and Diddy apparently offered her 8 figures to silence her and prevent the filing of this lawsuit, but she rejected his efforts. So y'all talking about, oh, she just wanted to be paid off, she just want money, and she lying. But, the lawyer coming back and say, hey, y'all offered that coin, y'all offered it, and still she rejected it, because obviously speaking out was more important than getting this cash and making sure that your ass, hopefully we can try to hold his ass accountable, but y'all be letting these abusers walk around. Y'all be letting these abusers walking around on the red carpet, on y'all interviews, in these podcasts. Y'all be putting them up. Y'all be seeing the clear evidence. Y'all be seeing the rumor. Y'all be hearing the rumors. Y'all be seeing what's going on, especially people in the industry. And when it finally hits the fan, I hate when people act like, oh, Cassie's lying, or the victims are lying, when shit like this has been an open secret in y'all circles forever. So it's just like, Diddy may be the most famous music executive of his generation, but the lawsuit depicts Diddy as a violent person who, beyond repeatedly assaulting Miss Ventura, asked her to carry his gun in her purse, and the lawsuit suggests he was responsible for blowing up the car of a rival suitor. In one incident, the suit says Mr. Combs dangled a friend of Cassie's over a 17th floor hotel balcony. What? In naming additional defendants, the court papers assert that others who worked with Mr. Combs had helped him control Cassie at times by threatening her with retribution, like suppressing her music if she did not obey his orders, or by helping to conceal his behavior. Now, if you read over the filing, right, like I did, it highlights how hopeless Cassie felt trying to get free of him, because Diddy would have a whole team of niggas, like, making sure that he could continue his abuse, right? So, teams of niggas driving her around, staff, right? Driving her around to her doctor's appointments and shit. At one point, her medical results and records were being sent directly to his email, right? They had people keeping tabs on her, or Sean had people keeping tabs on her, telling her, she would regret it if she didn't go back to him whenever she left. Lawyers and shit. He allegedly paid this one hotel $50,000 for the security footage after he beat her, right? So it's like, you got this billionaire with networks upon networks. It's like, how do you even begin to fathom like an escape route, right? Like, it's a mess. According to Cassie's lawsuit, she was swept into his jet-setting lifestyle not long after meeting him and signing with Bad Boy, which released her debut album in 2006. Now, keep this in mind. When he met her, she was 19 years old and he was goddamn 37. Y'all need to get a fucking grip, girl. Oh my God. 19 and 37. What y'all got to be doing? What y'all got to be talking about? And then at 19, signed her to a 10-album deal. That means you locked in that hole until you give the label whatever 10 albums, bitch. Some of our most most extremely successful musicians ain't hitting on no 10 fucking albums, bitch. Like, they giving y'all 6, 7 max and dipping out the game. You see what I'm saying? Some of the most successful. So you gonna sign this girl that you not a big name in the industry, obviously, at the time. 10 album deal? Okay. But the lawsuit says he soon began to assert an extraordinary level of command over her life. In addition to controlling her career, he paid for her car, apartments, and clothing, and even had access to her personal medical records, like I said. Going further into that, according to the lawsuit, the results from an MRI scan she had for memory loss, possibly caused by drug use or by a beating she said she suffered from Diddy, went directly to him, went directly to his email. He also provided Cassie with copious amounts of drugs, urged her to take them, and often became violent, beating her multiple times each year. The suit says that Cassie never went to the police because she feared it would merely give him another excuse to hurt her. In one incident in LA in 2009, the lawsuit says that he became enraged when he saw her talking to another talent agent, and he pushed her into the car and kicked her repeatedly in the face, making her bleed. Let me read this part straight from the lawsuit, not from the article, because it's absolutely chilling. Okay, so the lawsuit itself says, in January 2009, after Diddy learned that Cassie spoke to another music manager at a party in LA, he became enraged. She had hoped speaking to this manager would allow her to further grow her career and that Diddy would be happy for her. But instead, he became extremely angry and pulled her out of the club where the party was taking place. In the car leaving the club, Diddy beat Cassie, pushing her into a corner of the vehicle and stomping on her face. Mr. Combs' security staff, Roger Bonds, tried to stop the beating, but he was unable to de-escalate the situation. When the car arrived at Diddy's residence, Cassie attempted to run away, but Diddy followed her and proceeded to again kick her in the face. Cassie was bleeding profusely and was ushered to Diddy's home, where she began to throw up from the violent assault. Upon recognizing the damage he had done and the physical evidence of his abuse, Diddy panicked and forced his staff to bring Cassie to a hotel suite at the London Hotel in LA, where she was required to stay for a week. So it was here where Cassie began to fully realize, while she was healing from this, she began to fully realize that Diddy's tremendously loyal network not only knew about and witnessed his assault, but also that these witnesses were not willing to do anything meaningful to stop Diddy's behavior. She recognized that she was powerless and that reporting Diddy to the authorities would not alter his status or influence, but would merely give him another excuse to hurt her. And so, yes, I want to, of course, highlight how monstrous this man is, but I also want to highlight what people will allow money to do to them, because you're a whole industry, a whole team of niggas, a whole team of staff was needed to do this shit, and y'all really just sat there and let this shit happen. Y'all empowered him to do this shit over what? Some fucking green paper? And now this woman is going to be living with this fucking trauma for the rest of your goddamn life while you bitches were sitting there, except y'all pocketbooks, y'all checks was getting fucking, y'all checking accounts was getting fat, while this woman is struggling and suffering. This young girl, I don't understand. I mean, that's the same thing that happened with R. Kelly. In so many situations, it's just so disgusting how people allow money to just completely just melt their morals. It's ridiculous. The lawsuit says that after seeing the violent repercussions of rejecting Diddy and the extent to which he would isolate her from her support network, Cassie felt that saying no to Diddy would cost her something: her family, her friends, her career, or even her life. And though she tried to leave Diddy, the lawsuit said he sent his employees to lure her back. In one incident described in the court papers, Cassie said that in early 2012, Diddy grew so angry about her dating the rapper Kid Cudi that he said he would blow up the rapper's car. Around that time, the lawsuit said Kid Cudi's car exploded in his driveway. I like that Kid Cudi confirmed that this was all true through a spokeswoman. Like, he confirmed what Cassie was saying. I mean, it's not gonna stop the nignogs from siding with Diddy in this, but at least I'm just glad that a nigga said something, you know. I'm glad that a nigga confirmed it. So the actual lawsuit says here, in February 2012, during Paris Fashion Week, Diddy told Cassie that he was going to blow up Kid Cudi's car and that he wanted to ensure that Kid Cudi was home with his friends when it happened. And around that time, Kid Cudi's car exploded in his driveway. Like, what the fuck do you tell the insurance company? Bitch, I got a supervillain Lex Luthor ass, like, level supervillain. Like, bitch, like I'm living in Gotham. I got a fucking Lex Luthor built ass, you know, supervillain blowing up my shit. Like, what do you tell Progressive? What do you tell Geico? Bitch, Diddy is so... Okay, so back to the article. It says a few years into Cassie's relationship with Diddy, the lawsuit says, he began coercing her to engage in a fantasy of his called voyeurism, in which she was directed to have sex with a succession of male prostitutes while Diddy watched, masturbated, and took pictures and shot videos. According to the lawsuit, Diddy called these encounters freak-offs, which involved costumes like masquerade masks and lingerie. They continued for years, taking place at high-end hotels across the U.S. and in Diddy's homes. The lawsuit says that he instructed Cassie to search websites of escort services to get male sex workers. The actual lawsuit, let's switch to the actual lawsuit for a second. The actual lawsuit said Cassie was eventually instructed to use websites and escort services to find male sex workers to participate in the freak-offs. Diddy told Cassie to search for large black members on the website. Sometimes Diddy would pay to fly male sex workers to his location, including to multiple cities in the U.S. as well as abroad. I think that it's going to be interesting to see people's reactions to when the men start speaking out, because I'm sure we're going to see something come up, right? Where these male sex workers or the men start to come up and speak out about what's going on or what has gone on. It's going to be crazy to watch people react to, oh my God, Diddy's gay, Diddy's queer, Diddy's bisexual, versus, oh, Diddy is assaulting and abusing people. Like, it's going to be so crazy to watch yet again. How many times have we seen abusers, as long as they straight, you know, get off scot-free, and people just like, oh, well, you know, boys will be boys, it's fine, it's fine. But as soon as a guy abuses someone who's another guy or something like that, that's when it's a problem. Oh my God, I can't believe he did that shit. Meanwhile, so many women have been coming out about stories about this man, and it's just like, okay. So it's interesting how the homophobia in certain cases takes up so much of the spotlight versus, oh, this person was abusing people no matter their fucking gender or whatever. You know, it's the homophobia is going to jump out. The article continues and says drugs were supplied at these events, which Cassie's lawsuit says that she took because they allowed her to disassociate during these horrific encounters. According to the lawsuit, Cassie would delete videos from these incidents that had been shot on her phone, but Diddy told her he still had access to those videos, and on a flight once made her watch a video she thought that she had deleted. The next part of the article just talks about how one time he was intoxicated during one of these freak-offs and gave her a black eye. When she tried to leave, he threw glass vases at her, sending glass shattering through the corridor, according to the court filing. And I guess this was a hotel that I mentioned earlier where he paid them off. The hotel's security cameras captured that incident, but the lawsuit says Diddy paid the hotel $50,000 for the footage. Right? So now this part is just heinous, right? The court filing says that in 2018, after Diddy and Cassie met for dinner. Okay, you know, I'm gonna switch to the lawsuit for this because like the article's just summarizing it, but I'm gonna switch to the lawsuit. Okay, so the lawsuit says by 2017 and 2018, Cassie became desperate to leave Diddy and his abuse of her. She recognized that if she stayed with him, she would never be able to have a successful career or ever be physically and mentally safe. She therefore became determined to completely break away from him and his cycle of abuse and made concerted efforts to avoid him. In September 2018, she joined Diddy for a dinner in California for what she believed would be a discussion about concluding their relationship for good. After dinner, Diddy and Cassie returned to Cassie's home, which was paid for by Diddy. So Diddy, they both, after their dinner, they both went back to Cassie's home, but Diddy was paying for it. Diddy was paying the bills or whatever. Diddy forced himself on her in her apartment and tried to kiss Cassie, and she told him to stop and attempted to push him away. But Diddy then forcibly pulled off her clothing and unbuckled his belt. He proceeded to force himself onto Cassie while she repeatedly said no and tried to push him away. Soon thereafter, Cassie took steps to completely separate herself from her longtime abuser, including by leaving the home that he paid for and returning the car that he purchased for her. Despite moving away, her address was posted online in early 2019, leading to fears for her safety. Horrific. Like going to meet up with this person thinking that, okay, I'm just going to talk to them about the end of the relationship, and you are assaulted, you are brutally assaulted. And of course, that's just a way for the aggressor to just try and display this kind of power and dominance that they feel like they have over you. Almost like you think you're about to leave me, you think about it, you can never do it. And that's where that comes from. I can't even think about the years that you have to spend healing from something like this. Like, it's just, you gonna always carry this shit with you. And to see this motherfucker walking around and getting awards and all this shit, like, it's just ridiculous. So Cassie's case, like other recent sexual assault lawsuits, is being brought under the Adult Survivors Act, a New York law that allows people who say they were victims of sexual abuse to file civil suits after the statute of limitations has expired. The 1-year window to bring cases under this law ends next week. That law is cited in Cassie's complaint, and in a statement, she addressed its importance. With the expiration of New York's Adult Survivors Act fast approaching, she said, it became clear that this was an opportunity to speak up about the trauma I have experienced and that I will be recovering from for the rest of my life. And I don't know, I just think it's so, like, it takes so much bravery to just speak openly up about this shit, you know, and however people deal with their trauma or deal with trauma like this is how they deal with it, you know. But she decided that this was a step that she's going to take, and I'm very glad that she just followed her heart and did it. But I know it takes a lot of bravery knowing the kind of machinery that you're up against, and to put yourself up there, and not even as a Jane Doe or anything. Like, I know that must have taken a lot. But it's just, okay, real quick, this tweet was from someone made this tweet in 2014. I heard Diddy set Kid Cudi's car on fire for messing around with Cassie once. That was written all the way back in 2014. This one was written all the way back in 2012, claiming that Diddy and Kid Cudi were fighting in the club. That's, I don't know, you know. And then this is an interview done years back when Young Jock apparently saw Diddy in the club demanding that Cassie shave her head. You know, that look that she's kind of known for, right? Shave her head, shave the side of her head. After seeing this white woman in the club he thought looked cool, I guess, with the same shit on. Young Jock then said that he asked Cassie if she was really going to do that, basically, and she said to him, whatever Sean wants, I'm gonna give it to him, basically. So it's just like all these things adding up, all these tweets coming out, all this shit that has already been documented, all this. I mean, there were women obviously before, or there are other women besides Cassie, I should say. And then also Carisha tweeted this, and she tweeted this shit last year. She said, I don't know who she was talking to. It must have been, you know, beef or whatever type of beef. But I don't know who she was talking to. But she said, if I wanted you to eat my pussy, Diddy would have had you on your knees, ho. You a eater. So I'm just like, because a lot of people were bringing up Carisha. It's like, I wonder what's going on. I wonder what's happening. So I don't know what, I mean, but that's the tweet they talking about today online. Like, that's what they talking about. I'm just like, girl, all of this shit ain't looking good. All this shit ain't looking good at all. I think that the entire music industry needs to be power washed from the top down. We need to bleach that hoe down. We need to get some good ass Tilex or some, I don't know, girl. We got to spray this hoe down. We got to scrub that shit on out, because a lot of you niggas are allowed to walk around bringing death and destruction to your fucking communities and shit, bringing abuse, bringing trauma to your fucking communities, and you don't have to pay no price for it. Y'all bitches rich as hell, some of y'all rich as fuck, and y'all walking around here destroying people's lives, and because y'all did a cute little 1-2 step because you know y'all were at the top of somebody's charts or whatever, we just supposed to ignore all that shit. That's why I don't understand when people, you know, ask me certain questions about certain artists, people, whatever, and then I give them an answer and then they get mad. I'm just like, what do you want me to do? You want me to ignore the shit, the bullshit that they're trailing through the fucking community just because they got a cute little jingle, bitch? I'm not going to do it. And then black women suffer so much at the hands of this shit. I'm supposed to act like I don't see this shit. It's terrible. And that's why when the Tory Lanez's and all that shit come out, you see all these nignogs defending him, defending people like him, because y'all doing the same shit. Y'all in the industry doing the same shit with unlimited coin, unlimited influence, doing the same shit. I hope Cassie come for everything. I hope that other victims of abuse and assault and all this feel empowered by people like Megan or Cassie or whoever to just know that if you're a victim of something like this, you are not alone. You don't stand in that shit alone. Even though you're isolated, and it definitely feels like it at points, you feel alone and you are alone, but like at the end of the day, there are other people who have experienced the same kinds of shit, and maybe you can draw some strength from that while you navigate the situation. And if it makes sense for you, safety wise or whatever, you know, if it's a part of your escape plan, if it's a part of your plan, you can speak out. It's possible for certain people. Like I said, if it makes sense safety wise, sometimes it don't make sense. These niggas are crazy, you know. So if it makes sense that there can be a reality where people speak out, I just hope it empowers people who are struggling with this shit, who are facing this shit like this. But yeah, absolutely wild, you know, shocking, but at the same time, P. Diddy and the rest of these industry niggas haven't given us a reason to believe that these bitches ain't monsters in hell, you know, and the women that and men that they have tortured do not deserve that fucking shit. So, you know, we in for another round of victim blaming. Here we go. The knickknacks have already started, I'm sure. But my goodness, how many cases we got to the Kiki, we got, you know, Cassie, we got like, y'all don't ever tire of spreading your trauma around, and it's terrifying. Get these niggas out of here. Deplatform these niggas. Take their coin away. I don't want. Get them out my face. Get them out my face. On that note, thank you so much for watching. Love y'all so much, and make sure that you have a good goddamn evening. All the real niggas, they walk with a switch. Shaking ass with a broken wrist. I'm pussy and Bitch, just like this. All the real niggas, they walk with a switch.